Aloha, intrepid viewers. Dr. Lena coming to you for the last time from the bush. Then I'll be back home, hopefully, if the planes are flying. And I hope you can see me with this lighting. I feel like I'm in a bat cave. It's a very attractive bat cave. And I'm quite enchanted by bats. But look, we do what we can, when we can, how we can, to keep it all coming to you guys. Right. Now, before I launch into the American stuff, Boris Johnson in the UK has finally had the grace to resign. Both Hogarth and I predicted this when there was a vote of no confidence against him, and he survived because his people on his side of the aisle, of course, just like Trump's impeachment, they knew he was terrible, but they voted to keep him in. But we both said he's not going to last. Even though he survived that, he's not going to last. He's going to be gone very soon. And he is, because those very same people who voted to keep him in then started resigning. I think something like 40 cabinet ministers resigned in 24 hours or something, just one after the other, two live on television. I mean, really, what a circus, what a debacle. And so it goes on. So he's announced he's going, but not yet. He thought he'd stay for the summer or until they get another leader. Well, Boris, I'm here to tell you, love, just go. Just go. Now, the thing with these other options, who's going to be the next Prime Minister of the UK, is a problem because the candidates are actually worse than Boris. Worse. They're foul. Okay, so moving back stateside. Well, it's hard to know where to start, isn't it? You know. So Pat Cipolloni, I find that hard to say, right? Because I'm just back from Italy. It should be Cipolloni. And we've got the same with our Prime Minister in Australia, Albanese. And in Australia, it gets flattened to Albanese and then gets shortened to Albo. So I'm going to try and call him Cipolloni so you know who I'm talking about. But any Italian Americans, I'm sure, will be understanding of why it sounds so wrong, just wrong. You don't have a cappuccino, do you? I mean, no. All right, Pat Cipolloni, they've recorded the testimony. No doubt bits of it will come out. But he did testify for 8 hours or 7 of 8 hours. And so he must have had something to say. So will the Pat Cipolloni testimony be a turning point? I'm going to ask, be a turning point for any Republicans, right? If you're a Dem, you already know what's gone on. You're not closed off to what's happening. But will it move any of the Republican lawmakers? In other words, is this a John Dean moment, or are they so welded on to corruption and treacherous activities that they can't even hear it? Will it make a difference? GOP lawmakers, Cipolloni's testimony, and GOP lawmakers. Let's have a look what the cards have to say. Oh, they're confused. Poor babies. Really? Grow up, stand up, and grow up here. Oh, here we are. Well, if it wasn't so serious, it would be funny. So that's a nervous titter you hear from me. They're still confused. What is there to be confused about? It is perfectly apparent that the Yeti is just a destructive moron in a clown suit. It is not mysterious. It is not deep and complicated. On top of all that, profoundly corrupt. You can't even count the ways he was corrupt, but they're still not sure. They still have to reach a compromise. This is just GOP we're talking about, right? How can we take on board this testimony that is blatantly saying the number of illegal acts that happened in the days leading to, on the day of, and immediately after Jan 6, going back actually to the 2020 election? The point I'm trying to get to is compromise, but compromise sounds grown up. This isn't compromise. It's how can we extract a position on this that doesn't sell out the Yeti and our MAGA base, because they're terrified of their maggots. Serve them right. The maggots have now infested them full on, but they're scared of them. There's a sensible core of the party who I think are meeting together to try and come up with something more mature and a plan with this Queen of Pentacles, planting new seeds with this pentacle. How can we talk about the economy? How can we get the conversation back onto the economy where they feel safer and away from all these issues? But anyone who is sensible, is held hostage by the party, because the party itself is now not just on the right, it's gone beyond the beyond. They're held hostage. This is an 8 to many things that they've let slip and slide, that they've been part of, and now that's a problem. There is always a way out of the 8 of Swords. The intuitive recognition of what has happened and why they have ended up in that situation. They could actually work it out, but I doubt there's the will to. So Cipolloni's testimony, I don't think it will move the dial on some level in some places. There is no doubt about that, but not enough for them to finally wipe their hands of this man. They couldn't lie straight in bed, I swear. Now, while I'm shuffling, just updating on other things, you had one of the old Reagan lawyers. Now, they wheeled him out on CNN or somewhere. I love this. He said, the GOP is trying to repeal the 20th century. And he's right. He's absolutely right. They want to take it all back and align with the mad and villainous Supreme Court. Look, the world is watching, and given there's only 9 on the Supreme Court and 3 are okay, that's 6 people who are controlling the lives of 320 million and doing a really bad job at that. It's like, I think this is how people must have felt in Iran, 1979, right? From the 50s up until, right up until 1979 in Iran, as the locals still refer to, Persia. If you look at documentaries from around then and film footage and stuff, women were involved in all sorts of work and stuff. I've seen footage of women at a soccer match in Iran at the beginning of 1979. They're in mini skirts, boob tubes, you know, they're at the soccer, having a good time, blah, blah. Then, boom, they pushed out the Shah and got in the Ayatollah, and women were sent back into, in many cases, burqas, in others, hijabs. So this is modern history. So it's not that it can't happen. So we've just got to have faith that you, the American public, are furious enough, angry enough, motivated enough, committed enough to turn the tide in November. You can do this. Okay. What else? Oh, yeah. The next hearing, the scheduled hearing, they did an emergency hearing, as you know, for Pat Cipolloni. But the other one that's coming up on your July 12 is about the extremist bodies, the Proud Boys, the Oath Keepers. Now, I was watching an astrologer, and forgive me, but I can't remember if it was Andre Astrology Alert or Hogarth. Someone in Astroland was saying Pluto, which is coming back. Pluto is about, you have a sort of two sides to Pluto. One is power over the people and the other is power of the people. Okay. Power over the people or power of the people. So let's have a look at the July 12th hearings and see. Did you see Stuart Rhodes from the Oath Keepers? You know, the guy with the eye patch, because he shot himself in the eye while demonstrating gun safety. I mean, you couldn't script it, could you? You really couldn't. He's now desperate to talk to the J6 committee. Well, he would be, because he's looking at 20 years plus for seditious conspiracy. So we'll look at the hearings on the 12th. Have a little look. Will Stuart Rhodes be allowed to speak? Oops. Oh. Card of compromise just flew out. All right, that's saying to me he may be allowed to speak. I don't know, on the 12th or a separate hearing. But he wants the world for that. He knows he's looking at long jail time. He wants a compromise, but I don't think he's going to get the compromise he wants. I'll leave that card on the table. Okay, the next hearings. Proud Boys. Okay. I never understood the Proud Boys thing. I mean, it's one of the slogans for Mardi Gras here in Australia. Proud Boys. Okay. All right, what's happening with these hearings? I'm going to do a slightly different spread here. I'm leaving that one. All right. So in the center, the Five of Cups, the card of loss. I think this is, in a sense, the Proud Boys and the Oath Keepers will continue as organizations. I don't think they'll be disbanded, but they're experiencing a profound loss, not from their illustrious leadership, like those who shoot themselves in the head while demonstrating gun safety. No, I don't think they're losing much there, but there'd be, you know, leadership battles going on in there. But they will feel a degree of loss, in the sense that it's not that easy for them to organize anymore. Okay, because here we have underneath the Angel of Temperance. And so I don't think they're going to have a come to Jesus moment about it. A few could, you never know. But I don't think it's saying that. I think it's saying this is them being watched. This angel is watching their every move, and that would be in the form of the FBI. And let's face it, the FBI has a lot of redemption to do. It's allowed itself to be infiltrated during the Yeti years, but before that, and I don't have to tell any Native Americans out there what they were capable of in the 60s and 70s. So they know they're being watched. So they're not as impulsive as they were. Impulsive out there, didn't care who knew I was a proud boy, I was an oath keeper, you know, that stuff. They're now going underground. They're now operating more secretly. That's the trade-off or the compromise that I think that card got. Now, in terms of the hearings, putting the pieces together, one after the other. Now, the thing with the apprentice card, you're an apprentice to a skill where you need to really work at what you do to get better and more accomplished and become a master or a mistress of that skill or trade or art form, right? So this is for the J6 committee. They are going to put in more pieces of the puzzle. So that's good. I'm pleased about that. Okay, now, just so I don't forget, randomly, a couple of viewers have said to me, Linda G, our beloved Linda G, is doing prayers. I think it's next Monday. So check out Linda's channel and find out when she's doing prayers next, because it's always good to add extra energy to these things. Right. Now, I got a lot of responses to my comments on, are there too many geriatric lawmakers in the American system? And some of you went, yeah, right. And I got quite a few saying, no, people accumulate wisdom as they get old and I shouldn't be ageist and all of that, you know. But given that I'm 67 in a minute, I think I can say that if a 23-year-old came up and said to me, oh, there's too many old people in the Australian Parliament, and by that they meant 45-year-olds, I would be irritated too. But the numbers in the American system are phenomenally high. And I'll just share them with you. Thanks for the viewer who sent these. In the Senate, 44 out of 100 are 71 to 89. That's nearly half, 44 of them. In the House, 78 voting members are between 71 and 89. Now, I'm not against any particular individual, because I can say with a hand on my heart, as you get older, nothing, unless you get dementia or something, your abstract brain is still as good as it ever was, and you bring all this experience to the table. But you've got to have the energy for the fight too. This is a critical stage in the nation's history. And you've got to have that sheer energy to go out there and do this thing and to support the young ones coming through. Your job is not to be a gatekeeper. It should be to inspire. Oh, Katie Porter. I am so omming into the universe. She's just marvelous. And she has proposed, because she's sensible, she's not alone in this, but she is pushing for having to take out insurance. If you buy a gun, you have to take out insurance, just as you're supposed to with your car. And you're taking a lethal weapon out, you should have to take out insurance. That might slow them down a bit, or they won't have insurance, just like when you hit by someone, it's always someone without insurance, isn't it? Oh. But I think the principle is good. Okay, so gun insurance. Now, people are writing, the Yeti's running early, you know, don't worry. I really am convinced the Yeti will not be there for 2024. You have a new worry, and that is DeSantis. But the Yeti won't be, but he keeps saying he will. Now, a very important one I wanted to read on today is Brittany Greiner. She's the sportswoman who's in jail in Russia. She's being used as a political pawn. Russia has come back and said, we will do a prisoner swap. And they want the Merchant of Death, as he was called. His name is Victor Bout. Victor Bout, major arms dealer, and he sold to the worst despots in the world. And they're saying, if you free our Victor, we'll let Brittany go. Look, frankly, I don't think it's a bad deal. I'm sure arms trading didn't stop because Victor went to jail, right? It's one of the world's biggest industries. So let's have a look for poor Brittany. Poor Brittany. Will Brittany be released in a prisoner swap? Will Brittany be released? Let's have a look. All right, I'm going to get an extra clarifier here. So what we've got is there's arguments about it as we speak, right? Because the US, like Australia, says, oh, we don't respond to threats and we won't be told what to do. And then you'd have CIA operatives that are going, are you mad? Just do it. You know, everyone will forget in 5 minutes, just do it. I think that conversation's going on at high level, right? Queen of Pentacles comes in again, someone very sensible, quite, who is, I think, going to handle the negotiation itself. It's in progress, but not there yet. Now, my last card was the Page of Swords. Now, she's not a Page of Swords type character to me. She's a desperate, sad, young, freaked out woman. So I'm not seeing her as the Page of Swords. So I want a bit of a clarifier. Who is, or is this part of her, or I'm not quite getting this reading, except to say it's in discussion, right? I'm quite confident about that. It is being talked about seriously, but I need clarifiers for the Page of Swords. And I'm going to use my oracles here. The oracles, can we please have a clarifier for Brittany Greiner and the Page of Swords? Oops. What fell out? Oh, love, how gorgeous. But that's not the answer to the question. I think that means we have to send her love. We have to send her love. Clarifiers. All right. Friendship and a consolation. Yeah, that's more like it. Okay. Now, here we have friendship, Amika, and the consolation. So the consolation, I'm pleased to see there's something in the net that's a consolation prize, basically for Russia, which is bringing home their beloved Victor. So I think that's all right. But the universe spat out an extra message here for Brittany. Because I must say, I'll confess, it's one of those cases because so much else is going on. I'd forgotten about her a bit, and I think she really needs our energy. So send love and positivity to Brittany, because if this is agreed even, you know, it's going to be some argy-bargy before it gets sorted out. So sending you love, girl. Oh, my God. Now, time has rushed away yet again. Sorry I haven't been able to send you pictures of me with a kangaroo. When I was a little kid, we had a huge male kangaroo. They're very big. They can be up to 6 foot tall. We had one actually that was tame, but that's very unusual. And we all think it was slightly brain damaged, which is why it let us feed it and stuff, you know. But typically with kangaroos, you can't approach them in the wild. They're very timid, very skittish. They're off, you know. Okay, so I want to finish today. So no more kangaroos. I'm sorry. Going back to the city tomorrow. Praise to Biden for doing the executive orders he has. Hopefully he'll do some more. But Why is he resistant to expanding the Supreme Court? We know, okay, here's what we do know. We know he wouldn't be able to get confirmations through now. So the question isn't sort of now, but the inside talk that we hear is that he's opposed to it in principle. So let's ask the question, will he expand it down the road? Will he expand the court down the road? So the 6 troglodyte fundamentalists can't rule America. Will he expand to outnumber the troglodytes? Okay. Expanding the court. Will he get to expand the court? Okay. Gets 2 9s, so I think he's nearly there. 10s are the end of a cycle in tarot. Now, also, there's room for hope here. The Fool, new beginning, fresh ideas. Just do it, Joe. Yeah. So that's the energy. He would be under enormous pressure. This is after the midterms, like maybe half an hour after the final count. Mind you, the final count could take a while. Straight away, early, do it. He'll be under pressure to do it. It would help stabilize the country. 4s, 4 of Wands, stability, the wedding card. He would have a mandate to do it then. There would still be 2 9s. There are 9 on the Supreme Court, and I'm getting 9 and 9. So I don't think it's going to happen as quickly as we'd like. Okay. They meaning the Taliban fundamentalists like it the way it is, of course. The GOP like it the way it is, of course. They've worked very hard for 30 years to get to this point. So there is going to be resistance. So he has to really wait for the mandate and then increase that number. Okay, guys. Well, I'll see you in 3 or 4 days. So you look after yourself. Stay strong. Stay strong. Get breaks from everything. Get very zen about it all. But look after yourself and do something kind for someone else. You take care, guys. Bye-bye.